Thank you. Welcome to the January 12th, 2022 meeting of the Meridian, Idaho Parks and Recreation Commission. Can we take roll?
Yes, thank you. Joe Greer is absent. Don Gelsomino.
Present.
Jennifer Bobo, I see, is here. Let me just get her included in the meeting. Camden Hyde,
Present.
Keith Bevan,
Present.
John Nesmith,
Present.
Mandy Roberts, and Jennifer Bobo.
Present.
Thank you. Can I get a motion for adoption of the agenda?
Mr. President, make a motion that we adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
Seconded.
By Commissioner Hyde. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Is that in favor?
I think that was in favor.
All right, the agenda has been adopted. Can I get a motion for approval of the minutes of the December 8th regular meeting?
President,
Yes.
Mr. President.
Yes, Commissioner
Go ahead, Commissioner Nesmith.
Nesmith.
you can second it. Make a motion that we approve the minutes of the December 8th, 2021 regular meeting.
Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Seconded by Commissioner Gelsomino. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Latency.
Network latency. All right, the minutes from last meeting have been approved. And we will go on to announcements with Shelley.
Hello, commissioners that are joining us in person and those of you who are with us intergalactically. I'm pleased to be with you. We have a fresh new year that we're getting ready to start and starting to think ahead of all the different events and activities we have to look forward to, hopefully. And so I've done my best to create a calendar of upcoming events for you. The couple things I would point out, we do have a couple holidays that are going to sneak up on us. One, in fact, this Monday for Idaho Human Rights Day. So on Monday, City Hall will be closed. And we'll have that again on President's Day on February 21st. So those are days that we won't be present here to serve your needs, but any other time we're up and at 'em. You might notice that there's a town hall meeting on January 19th over at the Lucky Perk Coffee House that's in Silverstone. So again, that's a good chance to meet and mingle. It's casual and friendly. You can stay as long or short as you wish. So anyone's welcome to attend that. We're going to be opening up the shelter reservations on February 1st for the upcoming season. The soonest date someone can choose for a rental, I think, is, I want to say like April 2nd, and then through like mid-October, depending what the weather's doing. So we will open up for those that like to plan ahead. Like we like to say, planners win. So hopefully we'll get some calls on February 1st and start putting some shelter reservations on the book. Initial Point Gallery up on the 3rd floor of this building will have a new exhibit starting in February as well, on February 4th, and it'll be here for a month. And then also on that February 4th, which is a Friday, we'll have our public artist reception, which is the art opening that anyone is free to attend to come and view the art and meet the artists. It goes from 4:30 to 7 p.m. So we're looking forward to that. Then we have a coffee with the mayor. Oh, I'm sorry, I messed up on my location. Town hall meeting, I'm sorry, is at City Hall with a virtual option. I'm sorry, that makes much more sense. It featured speakers are our brand new Public Works Director and Community Development Director. And then our fire chief will also give an update on the fire department's master plan. Sorry, I fluffed that. Anyhow, so then back down on February 10th is the coffee with the mayor. That's going to be at Lucky Perk over in Silverstone. Again, friendly, casual, come network, ask questions, meet and mingle, share ideas. Anyone's welcome. And then on February 17th, for our seniors who are 50 plus, I fit in that category. There's a free defensive driving class that we occasionally put on. It's instructed by the Meridian Police Department officers, and it just lasts an hour. It'll be over at the senior center from 1 to 2 p.m. So that's a neat event. And then I gave you one other little gifty. It's the annual report, and it's kind of the year 2021 in review, kind of reminding us of all of our accomplishments, as well as some of the few things we're looking forward to in the future. So that's our little yearbook for the year. So you might have fun looking through and reading about our activities and revisiting some of the photographs we took throughout the year. We'll also post that online on the Parks and Rec portion of the city website. Does anyone have any questions, comments, or suggestions for me? No? Well, good. Well, maybe we'll see you at the town hall or coffee with the mayor. That'd be fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Shelley. Okay, moving on the agenda to new business. It appears that, oh, we do have new business. Okay, we are going to have an adult sports update from Maggie Combs and Skylar Cook.
Thank you. Oh, there we go. I just clicked on it. Yeah. I clicked on it. There. So I'm Maggie Combs. I'm the adult sports coordinator.
I'm Skylar Cook, Recreation Coordinator 1 for sports.
So we're just gonna go through kind of a year in review for the last year.
We may need to get you closer to the mics.
So 2021 year in review. We had some volleyball leagues. Unfortunately, our winter league, which goes this time of the year, last year we had to cancel. We were still hit pretty hard with COVID. But then we followed our spring. We had 87 teams, which from 2020 to 2021, we increased by 14 teams. And then in our fall, we saw a big increase this year by 18 teams. I'll just hit on winter league right now. We're currently, for obviously this is going to be 2022's update, but we are at 130 teams right now in our volleyball league, which is the biggest number I've seen since I've been here. So definitely seeing a big increase in volleyball. Our holiday classic tournament, which we'll definitely talk and hit more about a little later too. It's a volleyball tournament to raise money. We saw an increase by 5 teams. We had 37 teams. This is the biggest number of that tournament has ever had.
We also have a cornhole tournament that goes along with the volleyball tournament, again, raising money for the Meridian Head Start program. We had 46 this year, which was an increase by 24. So we almost doubled that one. Cornhole is gaining a lot of traction and popularity. So it's good to see that increase as well.
So our softball season, we were able to host 116 teams this year, increasing our leagues again. We're seeing a big increase in our leagues. Some of that being just from not being able to play in 2020. Some of that being because other cities and other areas around us are not as been adaptable. And we're also seeing the growth in the area from just new people coming in from other areas. Our summer fall league, which we didn't run in 2020, had 99 teams. So we're seeing definitely a steady increase. Usually fall's a little bit smaller. It's a little shorter league. We were able to host our youth fast pitch tournament this last year. We had 47 teams. This is not going to hit in the right spots. So we brought in some different teams from different areas, kind of going through where they came from. So we brought in some teams from out of state. And different areas of the Idaho and everything. Obviously, the majority of them being from the local, 24 of them being from Ada County. So definitely keeping those local teams and local kids playing. That's from ages 12 and under to 18 and under.
So for our flag football league, we had 13 teams, which was a decrease. We actually had 16, but 3 of those were co-ed teams, and we needed at least 4 in order to run that co-ed league. So we were tracking and trending to beat our previous numbers, but taking away those co-ed teams, we had 13 total men's teams. We play those games at Story Park. Basketball last year for 2021, we were unable to do due to COVID. We are currently running our basketball season right now, and we had 46 teams, which is a big jump, the most we've ever seen. People were excited to get back and ready to play after taking last year off. Cornhole league as well. In our summer, we had 62 players, which was an increase of 16 from the previous year. We got a couple more boards built, which allowed us to take on more teams and go more nights of the week as well to provide that opportunity for folks. We did our cornhole tournaments as well. We did the Dairy Days tournament, which was a new one for us this year. We had 30 teams for that, obviously over the Dairy Days weekend. And then we had our disc golf tournament, our second annual Halloween tournament, where we bring in both adult and youth. So we had 4 youth players this year and 11 adult players.
I will say the cool thing about the disc golf over Halloween is the people come out and they dress up in costumes. So if you don't have a chance, try and you get time this next Halloween season, try to come out and see what they're doing. So looking at the total number of teams, we definitely have an increase from 2020 to 2021. We are still rebuilding, growing our programs back. We did have some programs that didn't happen, but our numbers are trending back up. We are starting to see that trend again this year already in our programs, that we're growing in size. So hopefully that number just keeps continuing to grow. And then our player statistics, we definitely we're seeing a growth, obviously, the same thing with the players. So we have some sponsorships that we definitely partnered with for our volleyball and cornhole donations. Walmart over on 10 Mile, they've been a great sponsor this last 2 years. They stepped up and donated 2 different gift baskets. They give us, when we go shopping for the Meridian Head Start kids, they give us a good discount as well when we go and shop for them. Wahoo's, Fast Lanes, Human Bean, Dutch Bros, Buffalo Wild Wings, AJ's Salsa, and Texas Roadhouse gives gift certificates to the first place teams. So all of these sponsors help us make this tournament possible. They do gift baskets or gift raffles. And so we raffle them off to help raise money for the kids for the programs. So there's very thankful for them. And then during the disc golf, the Texas Roadhouse also stepped up to help donate. So some of our challenges we've seen with 2021, due to COVID, we were still unable to host some of our leagues, but that didn't help. We didn't see too much of a downside in the growth of our other leagues. What do we see for 2022? We're definitely hitting up on gym space being an issue, where we're maxing out our space. We're hitting those. So we're going to have to start adding more Fridays. The teams are going to play in the schools over at home court. We're using all of our space, which is great. We want to see that growth. For softball leagues, same thing, the field space with lights. We're going to grow our spaces, grow our lights. We just need more space, which then also our outside requests for field space.
Yeah, just to touch on that a bit, field reservations, obviously, fields with lights are at a premium. We'd like to see more lights if that's ever possible as we continue to get more organizations, youth groups that come in. Everyone's requesting the same field at the same date and the same time. So that we have to be kind of picky and choosy as far as who gets those reservations. Same with our ball fields, full-size baseball field. We only have Mo Brooks, so we only have 1 full-size baseball field in the city of Meridian that is very highly sought after and filled up as well.
So we've got some kind of fun things that went on this last year. So we have our holiday classic, which is the volleyball and cornhole tournament. We raised approximately a little over $4,500 that helped purchase 800 plus gifts for 51 children for the Meridian Head Start program right down the street. Those funds were raised between team fees, donations, raffles, officials working at a reduced rate, and donating their time. 16 kids were purchased by other people also to help with this. We've got volunteers that help out, that you see sitting usually outside. They come and help do the shopping and the wrapping, and it just is not possible without volunteers to make this possible and be able to give some kids a Christmas. So during our softball season, we kind of counted all the days. We had 117 days of softball, which averaged people running around the bases 297 times per night, which is a lot when you add it all up. In just the month of August, there was 5,733 total runs scored just on the 7 fields, just the month of August alone.
I'd like to mention I was at least 10 of those runs.
Our volleyball, we average for our spring and fall leagues, 81 nights of volleyball this year with 529 points scored. And just for reference, if nobody's done volleyball, they usually play their matches to 25. So if at least one team is going to score 25 in a match, and they play 3 games for each team in a match. So two of those games, 3 of those games are at least going to be 25 on one side. And unfortunately, our winter league didn't happen. Any questions, comments, concerns?
I guess, yeah, when you mentioned the increase in, like, well, first for the volleyball, that's the first that came to mind is we're going to run out of courts. So when you say moving to Fridays, is that for volleyball or basketball or anything? So we don't play on Fridays now. Is it Monday through Thursday or?
We normally play Monday through Thursday. We are already using some Fridays currently in the leagues that we are going with. So it's just not something that has been done in a couple of years because we have grown. We are seeing to have to transition back to using Friday. So we try to make it so that each team only has to play one Friday during the season at this current time. But as we grow, we will be playing more Friday games.
Just to add to that, that stems from the feedback we received from players, from teams. They prefer not to play Friday nights when possible.
Is there a foreseeable that we would have to cap the number of teams at some point and just say, you know, that based on the number of courts, the number of nights, the number of slots, we can only have, 46 teams or something?
Yes, that is a possibility, and also because of officials.
Well, that's probably,
So that is something we are running into also, is the number of officials that are available for our leagues. We currently have a great core group of officials that can accommodate it all. So, but as we grow, hopefully they can grow with us.
President. Oh, go ahead, Skylar.
Just to continue on that train. For example, we could cap our basketball league this year at 48 teams and we had 46. So we were very close to having to turn people away.
Yeah, and we typically have a cap, for softball, and often we have a waiting list. So we've bumped up against our upper limits, already, but with the addition of additional fields out at Discovery Park, that's going to help, like softball specifically. I was just going to mention, just sitting here listening myself, probably one of the biggest takeaways for me is that growth. Because what I'm hearing is, while we had some down times and the stats for the year may be down, our most recent stats for fall softball and winter volleyball, both of those are the biggest registration numbers that we've ever seen, ever. So even though we're down maybe for the year because of some early cancellations at the beginning of the year, the trend is definitely upward.
Like our winter number this year, we did hit our cap, and then we went back to the officials. I went back and said, hey, this is what we have for a waiting list. Are you able to accommodate this? And the official said, yes, we can take on more nights. So we have asked and everything. We did hit our cap for that one, but we were able to expand because they were willing to work more.
any other questions?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Very much for all your work.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, next item on our agenda is a Bear Creek Park Playground discussion with Mike Barton.
Good evening. So a couple of months ago, we were here talking to you about the new playground in Chateau Park. So we have two playgrounds that are scheduled for construction installation this year. One obviously is in Chateau Park, and you saw that one. So tonight I want to talk about the next one, and that's a playground for Bear Creek Park. Same kind of age factors that come into play. It was installed, Chateau was installed in 2002. This one installed in 2003. These things just have a lifespan. I mean, it's showing significant signs of wear and tear. The parts are hard to get, and sometimes they're not even available. The set at Bear Creek has a zip line, not as robust as the one at Discovery Park, but it's kind of a deal that you hang on and go back and forth, and it broke. The parts aren't available, so we took it out. So it just gets diminished to the point where the play value is not good. We're to the point where if a slide cracks or something falls apart, we would have to just put a barrier and just remove that feature from the set. So we have a budget of $275,000 to replace the playground, and this is part of our life cycle capital replacements. We have everything in the entire system that is likely to need to be replaced in the next 50 years. We placed a value to it and an approximate timeline of when it needs to be replaced, and we kind of draw from that, and then also its current condition, and then we make these budget requests because we really want the parks to stay up to date and stay good. I mean, a lot of our stuff is new, and that's really nice to have, but we kind of want to keep it that way the best we can. And one of the other things, and like similar to the playground at Chateau, there is a kind of a newish kind of surfacing that's out. Traditionally, you put wood chips under a playground, or you can use that poured in place, that rubber that like Settlers Park has. Well, there's a new product out called bonded rubber, and I brought a couple of samples for you to look at. For those of you that are streaming the meeting, you can stop by, and I wish you were here. You could actually kind of, see these and see what it is. So when we talk about bonded rubber, a lot of people may or may not know what it is. But so I'm just going to hand these off. And so pretty cool stuff. It has the same kind of texture and impact attenuation that poured in place rubber does. It's more durable, a little longer lasting. The kids don't, with the bonded rubber, if you get a little chip out of it, the kids tend to want to pick it and get through that top layer, and you get holes in it. And so not an issue with that. You would never be able to pick to the bottom of that. And then, what are we going to do with the old set? Same as Chateau, it's our goal to donate the old set to the Global Rhino Foundation. We'll take that one apart, palletize it, shrink wrap it, get it ready for shipping to be reinstalled in a developing country somewhere by volunteers. So that's our plan. So the existing playground, from a distance, it looks halfway decent. You can see the zip line to the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. This is an old photo that's been taken out. But there's swings, or a little taller tower. There's a small set for 2 to 5 year olds. And then the bigger set is for 5 to 12 year olds. So it's designed to accommodate a variety of users and a variety of age groups. Here's a couple of pictures. You can kind of see from the 2 to 5 year old set on the left-hand side that it's getting pretty janky looking and faded and scratched. And, you know, some of these parts with these slides, like if that tube slide were to crack or fail in some way, we would just block off the end of the top so you couldn't use it. So they become obsolete. So what we've done is we've kind of, excuse me, we've done the best we can to provide more or less the same play value that the old set did back in the day. But obviously there's some upgrades. We've added the 2 to 5 year old set on the right-hand side of your screen, a zip line that's more robust, a full set of swings, and also a taller tower. Kids love height. They love to climb. I mean, there's something fun about getting really high in the air and sliding down and playing up there. There's a lot of good play value in that. So we think we're replacing this with a similar playground product that, you know, back in the day, the Bear Creek Park playground was really cool. And now that's, you know, obviously things have changed and they've come a little ways, but we're kind of in the same theme of the original set. You can see from that picture, the variety of things to use and play on. The bear that you see in the bottom there, the theming element, right now is not in the budget. We're going through the process of weighing the pros and cons of some other elements to get it to where that can be included. So what we did, and maybe this is a question to weigh in on, is the swing bar as drawn is 10 feet. The original drawing had a swing height of 8 feet. So the lower the swing, the less travel you have and the less, it's not quite as fun as, if you get taller, obviously it's going to be quite a bit more fun. So going from an 8 foot high swing to 10 feet high raised the cost of that swing alone by over $10,000. So if you guys think that it makes sense to go back to an 8 foot, we can afford the bear. Otherwise, we can work on maybe some other value engineering in this and try to afford it. So I think I'll pause right there and ask if there's any thoughts on which way to go.
Thoughts? Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, correct. Yeah, great question. Yeah, we'll do different colors. Yep. Yeah, I know.
You have the bear and the creek.
Yeah, so let me just stop right there. That the 3-bay swing, there's 1 bay of bucket swings. Little kids that go in a bucket don't care if it's 8 feet.
Okay.
They don't care because they're just going back and forth. Someone's pushing. The inclusive swing, it doesn't matter. Somebody can transfer out of a wheelchair and get into the swing. And that's good. And someone's pushing them. The only bay that matters is the belt swings. And so that's the dilemma. Is it a higher priority to have the bear and maybe value engineer towards the the taller swings?
Mr. President, I think that having the bear be better, just because the kids who are going on the swings, I don't think will notice a crazy difference unless they're older. And I think having the bear kind of, has the better symbolism for parents and everything. So I would say the bear would be better than a 10-foot tall swing, and kids will still enjoy the 8 feet for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I'm seeing nods.
Kind of agree with that.
Does the virtual people nodding? I can't see you.
Madam President, or no, Mr. President. Sorry. I would agree. I would agree with keeping the bear. I think the theme goes along with our wanting to add themes to all the parks. I could see a good value in that, in having the bear. I mean, obviously it'd be great if we can keep a 10-foot swing, but I would rather have the bear if it's either or.
Mr. President, this is Commissioner Gelsomino. I echo both Commissioner Hyde and Commissioner Bobo's comments.
Thank you.
Mr. President.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's great, and maybe we could work on the value engineering to get it up. I think the only thing on the 10-foot tall swings, you kind of want it all, but it does lend itself for a little bit older kids to be able to use that. But it is nice having character and identity and all that stuff too, which is really cool.
Yeah, actually, the best swings are way taller than 10 feet.
Yeah.
I mean, you have that.
Can we get both?
Well, then you start running out of room
Yeah.
because you have to, the fall zone is twice the length of the chain. So you have to be able to jump out without landing on another kid or into another part of the playground. So you have that fall zone starts increasing significantly. But I think what I'm hearing is go for the bear, try to value engineer towards the 10-foot swings. And if we can't, put in the 8-foot.
I think so.
Okay. And then that's just an overhead view of what it is. And you can see the fall zone on the belt swings. That's kind of in the middle. That's what the outline is. So it's shoehorned in there. Yeah. And that concludes the presentation. This kid's gonna have a problem. We don't want to put this one in. It's probably hot too. That stainless steel would burn your legs if you have short pants on. So yeah, I guess refine the same kind of next steps. We want to put it in this summer and get it up and running by the time school's in. Any last questions?
So how long would it take to, remove the old one, put the new one in? Am I rough?
It's about a month process.
That section of the park could be
Yeah.
closed off.
Yeah, and that's a great point. So we've talked about that, and we've talked about our shelter reservations and limiting the reservations of the shelter just to first come, first serve for a period of time. You don't want to reserve the shelter for a birthday party and have a closed playground. We won't dismantle the old playground until the new one arrives. That makes any sense. We definitely don't want to go out there and take that one out with the longer lead times of things these days. We want to make sure and have that one on site and then sequence it in such a way that it minimizes the downtime.
Perfect.
Any questions from the commission?
Thank you.
Good job.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks.
All righty, so next on the agenda is reviewing some old business, which is the Parks and Rec Master Plan update status with Director Sitaway.
Good evening. Wanted to give you an update on where we are. There's kind of three main components that we're getting into now. There's the master plan itself, there's the community center feasibility study, and the cost recovery is about to kick off and hasn't quite started yet, but I wanted to come before you tonight and just give you a status update on all three. So let's start with the master plan update. The survey is the big thing that's happening right now. It closes this weekend, and we're in our final push for completed surveys. And if you are in our database, you would have received an email today. We sent it out to about 25,000 people this afternoon to with an email link. We've sent it out before at Christmas time, but we sent it out again now that we're past the Christmas season, trying to encourage more responses. So far, I got an update yesterday on where we're at on current counts. So on the random sample survey, we have 308 that have been completed. 239 were on paper, 69 were online, 14 were not partially completed, not fully completed. So 322 total surveys from that group. I was questioning, is that enough? The answer is that sample size gives us about a 5.5% margin of error with a 95% confidence level. So they're feeling pretty good, although we would love to have more, which is why we're pushing out. Now, those are randomly selected households. We don't know who they are. So we can't target them specifically, but by pushing it out on Facebook and things, we hope people we've seen some more of those come in. What we're really trying to promote right now is the open link survey. That's the one that anyone can take. You can take it, your friends can take it, anyone watching this can take it. So far we've had 117 of those completed, plus another 71 partials for 188 total. The email blast that we're doing right now is really trying to up that number because we want to compare the open link results to the random sample survey results. We were able to do that really well the last time we did this. So if any of you have any groups, friends, I mean, anyone watching, the same kind of plea, we're just trying to push this out to as many people as we can. Would love the feedback on, because it covers all aspects of parks, recreation programs, special events, future parks, things like that. So what's our next step? Well, after it closes this weekend, between then through the end of the month, they'll start tabulating the data and then provide the results to Green Play kind of towards the end of the month. And then we were able to use that data moving forward. So another big part of the master plan efforts is related to this inventory and the level of service analysis. So they have this special process called GRASP, which stands for Geo-Referenced Amenities Standards Process. It's a mouthful for, it's in GIS. That's the geo-referenced part. And because of that, they're able to do analysis based on barriers for roads and accessibility to via pathways, or is the freeway a barrier, Eagle Road a barrier, et cetera. It's kind of the gold standard in level of service analysis, because when we usually talk about level of service, it's often in the aspects of acres per thousand, which is a very generic version of level of service. It's still an important one that we track, but this process gets very much more granular and is able to look at the condition of the facility, access to the facility, the quality of the various amenities that are there, and it all kind of feeds into a process. And you'll be getting a presentation on those results. The findings presentation is going to be scheduled on the week of February 21st. We don't know which date yet, but they're looking into plane tickets and all that kind of stuff. But so stay tuned. but we can also give you an update at maybe the month after commission meeting, but we hope that you will be able to participate in the actual findings presentation when they're in town. So watch for more information on that. The community center feasibility study is the next major component. We need the survey results before we can do much more on that. So we get those results tabulated and delivered towards the end of January. Then we start building, we look at the results, kind of the wish list for the programming elements for that building. We start building a spreadsheet for the program for the building, the spaces, their size, kind of in the month of February. So next month, that's the focus. The landscape architect will also start generating concept plans that we'll be taking to the public for comment at the public workshop. Right now, it's looking like that'll most likely be in March. If the stars align, it may be able to happen during the week of the findings presentation, that week of February 21st. That remains to be seen. So we'll see, what the data comes back and how much they're able to do in those, 2 to 3 weeks leading up to that. So February, March, I expect to see a public workshop happening. After that, we'll refine those concepts prior to a second public workshop. There's also a market analysis, a staffing plan, analysis of revenue opportunities that'll all be part of this overall feasibility study as kind of a preview of what's to come later. The cost recovery model is kind of the third big component, and we're excited to see this kick off. It actually kicks off next week on January 18th. Green Play will be making a presentation to City Council at their meeting next week on the 18th. We will also ask them to present to you at your next meeting on February 9th. This is basically done through a series of 3 workshops. The first one is a staff level one where we develop categories of all the different things that we do. We work with Parks and Rec staff and finance to do that. In April, there will be a public workshop where we will sort the categories. And this idea of pyramid development will mean a lot more to you next month when you actually get your big kickoff presentation from Green Play. But the quick and dirty version for me is, if you imagine a pyramid, and the base of which is those things that we do that are primarily benefit the general public as a whole, things like parks, okay? At the top of the pyramid is things that are primarily individual benefit, say an individual tennis lesson, right? And so what this process is going to do is kind of stratify all the things we do in a number of layers between primarily private benefit and primary public benefit, and then come up with cost recovery goals, or they call them tier targets for each of those different layers. So it's a very transparent way to come up with a cost recovery model. That's where we are. That's where we're headed. 3 main components, lots going on. Buckle up. It's going to be a busy spring, and we hope you can participate in as many of those upcoming workshops as we can. We'll be sure to continue to confirm those dates with you as they are confirmed to us. I'll stand for any questions.
President? Hey, real quick, I don't know if we're on the mailing list as commissioners, but is that something that potentially we could get those links?
Yep, in fact,
Emailed to us? That way, if we have the opportunity to push it out to anybody, we could.
Are you referring to the survey?
Yes, survey links.
I was going to ask if it's on like the city's Facebook page or something, could we just link to that on our social media or?
Absolutely.
I was-
Yeah, what's
same thing,
what's
whatever we
okay
can
or
do,
not
'cause
okay to?
I'll go home
yeah.
and do that right now.
Oh, thank you.
Push it out to everybody I know.
Awesome. Thank you.
so what I've just handed out is a hard copy of the survey. That QR code, if you scan it with your phone, will take you to this website. If you're at your computer, which is probably the easiest way to take it, that meridianparksurvey.org/open, that link will get you right to the survey. That help?
Thank you.
Okay.
Get more people.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I just had a question about, since I'm new in this role, does the city have a listserv or a list of like neighborhood representative, neighborhood council, or HOAs? You know, because I think that would be a good, obviously good source to send these to.
So they used to try and maintain that. It was never very good, and they don't register with the state, and they transition all the time to new people.
Okay.
What's kind of taking its place is Nextdoor. A lot of HOAs have Nextdoor groups, and we are pushing it out through Nextdoor. We are pushing it out through Facebook. We are pushing it out through Instagram. So we have multiple avenues that we're pushing it out besides the email that I mentioned.
Great job.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Next on the agenda is, well, there are no workshops tonight, so we will move on to staff reports.
I'll go first. The biggest one I wanted to touch on was the survey. So we just went over that. I also wanted to just really take a moment. Shelley already kind of mentioned it, but this annual report has been a big effort over the last month to gather all of our stories, our data, and kind of compile it all. So would love it if you would look that over. We are publishing it digitally, and so we'll send it out electronically as well in ways that can be shared. But I'm really excited by the stories that are in here, and to look back at, you know, what in many ways was a challenging year, but when you look at this, you look at and think, what a wonderful year. There are a lot of great things were able to be accomplished over the past year in 2021. So wanted to just take a moment and celebrate all that was able to happen in 2021. And while I've got the floor, since Garrett is out tonight, I just wanted to touch on 4 quick items from him. We've been working hard on the Meridian pool transfer logistics. We do anticipate getting agreements in place this spring to be able to take over that pool, the pool operations this year. West Ada Rec District will probably continue to own that asset for the next 3 years. And then we will, at the end of that operational agreement, the actual ownership will transfer for both the pool and the golf course. So we're trying to align those stars. Garrett's also working with event organizers to schedule events. So the summer events are, you know, if you're doing a summer event, you're already planning it. So that's actually, there's a lot going on for that. A lot of our parks have concessionaires in our, you know, concession stands and snow cone shacks, things like that. And so the concessions RFP has been released. We have them in many parks: Discovery Park, Settlers Park, Story Park, Tully Park, Bear Creek. And those are in the process of being reviewed and scored right now. The final update from Garrett, which is kind of a fun one. We've hired a new arts and culture specialist. We said farewell to Audrey. Last week was a little sad for us. We loved having Audrey. She's moved on to Idaho Falls. Our new coordinator is named Cassandra Schiffler, and we'll look for an opportunity to bring her here and introduce you to you. But we're excited for the talents and the expertise that she's bringing. She's an artist herself. She's going to be a great addition to the staff, and I think the Arts Commission will resonate really well with her. So we're excited to have her on board. And with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Questions for Steve, so I'll jump in. I've been working on obviously the new playgrounds, and Discovery Park is we're getting mobilized and going to be digging out there here in the next several weeks. So that's coming along. Lakeview capital projects are going out to bid here shortly. And we're also going through a process of updating a lot of the fees that we charge at Lakeview. There needs to be some adjustments for inflation. The prices are the same. They're consistent with what they were charging in 2019, and obviously things cost more. So we'll be going to city council next Tuesday to talk about that. And Dom, I wanted to let you know that we're meeting with Julie Bokenkamp and Justin Cotton tomorrow. Justin Cotton is a potential candidate to run a community garden in Discovery Park.
Mr. President, Mike, I had heard that straight from the horse's mouth, and that really made my week. I'm excited to hear that good news, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I think this is a really great candidate for that role, and definitely gives us a little bit more breathing room when it comes to the development of that second community garden out in Discovery Park. Thank you so much for your consideration of him.
Absolutely. You're welcome. That's all I have.
Thank you. Warren?
Mr. President, Commissioners, thank you. Of the 6 infill projects I've been working on for Pathways, we met today on this segment, or with the consultant on this segment between 10 Mile and Black Cat Roads. That was one that's kind of been waiting a bit. So we're talking about crossing the 9 Mile and just a couple of encroachment issues. And our goal would be to bid that project by June so that we can, so that we can do some of the construction work with the crossing of the 9 Mile when the water is dry, irrigationally speaking. Another project that some of you are aware of from a past Pathway field trip is the 2 missing pieces down at South Meridian Road and Victory. So these 2 projects I'm speaking to kind of took a backseat to some of the other ones that were faster paced, but that's going to be happening. We're requesting a scope and a fee for that and getting a task order in place. So I'm picking up those missing gaps. So 2 that are following the 4 pathways that were part of that original 6. So we've got 4 kind of in the queue. They're being reviewed by ACHD. They're kind of getting ready to be bid as soon as that is done. But we're in waiting mode, and I'm just buttoning up a few loose ends. So that's 6 pathway infill projects total, 4 that are moving quickly and 2 that we're just kind of pushing into the next phase. Also, I checked in with the consultant on the Star Road pedestrian underpass that may be part of that ACHD project, and expect to have that engineering done within a month or so. We're trying to determine what is a floodwater level and how much clearance do we want to ask for in terms of the pedestrian underpass, and from there get a more realistic cost and then ask council if that's something we can do. So expect to hear back in about a month, and we'll be on the agenda. And of course, we'll keep you in the loop in terms of that as well. Otherwise, a lot of plan review, they keep coming in, a lot of interagency coordination. That's another thing I do with meetings every month with the Active Transportation Work Group and the FACTS group that is administered through Compass. So there's a lot going on. With that, I'll stand for any questions.
Question? Anything from our virtual attendees?
I don't have a,
Bobo?
Mr. President,
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't have a question, but I'm just excited to hear about the pathway for the 10 Mile to Black Cat.
Thank you, Mr. President, Commissioner Bobo. Yeah, that one, it is exciting. When I first arrived at the city by almost, I guess it was 4 years ago, that one seemed way out in the future in terms of ever getting permission and punching that through. So because of the development that's happening nearer to Black Cat Road, and yeah, it's helped accelerate that. There have been some ownership changes. I'm really excited about it too. I think it's going to fill a major missing gap. And once that's connected, then there's additional pathway that's already built west of Black Cat. So that will add significantly to our contiguous mileage. So I second that enthusiasm. Thank you.
Mr. President.
Commissioner Roberts, yeah.
Yes, I was just wondering if there's an update on the ULI workshop.
Thank you, Commissioner Roberts. Yes, there is. We, over the holidays, we were in communication with the ULI project managers, and there was a change in their project manager. So the new person who's been assigned to us seems to be pretty sharp. And yeah, we do have meetings scheduled ahead with them to determine a more specific study area. We have a scope already worked out. And yeah, I'd be interested in, I don't know if I know Commissioner Roberts, in part because of your background, had asked about being involved in that. So I don't know if it's appropriate for you and the commission to be involved prior to the panel itself, but we will look for opportunities to do that. But it's definitely moving forward. Again, fingers crossed. But yeah, that'll be picking up in earnest. We have both internal meetings and then meetings with ULI on that. It's going.
Thank you. That's exciting.
A workshop date in May. Is there a date set yet?
Pardon me, thanks,
It's
Chief.
in May.
It is in May, and I don't remember the exact dates, but it is set. I know we've reserved rooms in City Hall just in case we need them. So we do have specific targeted dates, and I can forward those if you're interested, or just know they're firm in May for now.
Any other questions? All right. Any other business anybody needs to bring up or items? Okay. Well, the next scheduled meeting is Wednesday, February 9th at 5:30 p.m. in this room. So I can ask for a motion to adjourn.
Mr. President,
Yes, Commissioner Jill.
I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn tonight's meeting until the next meeting for the May 2022 general meeting.
Thank you. Do I have a second? February 9th.
Just confirming the next meeting's February 9th.
February 9th. Yes, that's the next meeting. Thank you. Do I have a second? Thank you, Commissioner Nesmith. All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.